So one of the best parts about Kevin Durant has nothing to do with how great he has been on the basketball court throughout his career. To be honest, just watching Kevin Durant work through his career has been one of the longest, strangest journeys of any superstar I've ever seen in any sport. That being said, there could be a soap opera actually named after Kevin Durant. The drama that absolutely follows him around is unbelievable. We are going to get into that tonight on the NBA Rundown. We're going to get into what Brian Windhorst had to say. I'm also going to play a video for you right now where Kevin Durant responds to the toxic rumors in the locker room rumors. Now, I will give Kevin a little bit of credit here. He's actually not doing this on a burner account. This is not actual AI. This is actual Kevin Durant in his very own words.
Yeah, I heard Ramona Shelburne come out and say our locker room is toxic. I try to tell people who's not around this game as much, is that it's easy to say our locker room is not connected when you come in there 45 minutes before and guys are in their game modes. We're not talking to each other. 4 or 5 guys might be in the training room. A few guys might be in the weight room. It's not a welcoming environment right before the game. You know what I'm saying? And that's just part of getting ready to play. You know? So I think it's unfair and lazy to categorize our team as toxic when you come in there for 5 minutes throughout 4 months. That's the only time you've been in our locker room. Then you can make a narrative. I don't think that's fair to us, but like I said, that's part of the game. It's part of the business we signed up for. Shit's not fair in this game, but we got to deal with it and accept it.
I think there is a report.
Okay, so that was the real Kevin Durant actually responding to the rumors in his very own words. I thought we'd spend a little bit of time actually talking about what is the likelihood that Kevin Durant is actually going to ask for a trade this upcoming summer. We're going to get into some just shocking details that have come out in the last 24 hours about just how close Kevin Durant was actually to being traded to another team in the NBA, and one of those teams is going to absolutely shock you. Now, let's start with what Brian Windhorst had to say. He was not happy. He was put into trade talks. I think right now it is reasonable to forecast that Durant will be breaking up with the Suns in the summer. He didn't break up with them, but it doesn't look good for the long-term forecast because he was really frustrated. Okay, so that was ESPN's Brian Windhorst actually commenting on Kevin Durant's situation in Phoenix. Now, we know things got just really crazy around the NBA trading deadline. We saw all sorts of stories sort of pop up. There was Kevin Durant's secret meeting with Steph Curry, where Steph Curry actually tried to convince Kevin to come back. Apparently, Kevin said he was so happy in Phoenix that he wasn't actually looking to move. Now, at the same time, a couple days later, Kevin Durant apparently told the Phoenix Suns organization that he was fine being shipped off to Miami. This is just absolutely unbelievable. He didn't want to go back to the Golden State Warriors, and I think we all know why. Draymond Green is still a member of the Golden State Warriors. A far less harmless version of Draymond Green is currently playing for the Golden State Warriors, if you know what I mean. He's skied pretty far down the backside of Career Mountain at this point, but Kevin Durant is still bitter about what happened with Draymond Green the first time around with the Golden State Warriors. So it wasn't terribly surprising that he didn't want to make that move. On top of it all, according to some reports, Kevin Durant was very upset, as I pointed out in the Brian Windhorst comments, that he was very upset that Phoenix blindsided him, if you will, with these potential trades. So then Kevin Durant at some point heard that the Minnesota Timberwolves, that's right, the Minnesota Timberwolves actually called up the Phoenix Suns to see if Kevin Durant was available. Now, apparently, the Phoenix Suns went to KD and asked if he would be okay with going to Minnesota. at which point apparently Kevin Durant responded with yes. But it is a complicated thing to try to get a deal done. And apparently this happened in the last 12 hours of the NBA trading deadline. So for the Timberwolves, who are at that second apron to have to sort of figure everything out in such a quick period of time, it was one of those things that they couldn't get done. Now, we know that the Timberwolves and Julius Randle and Rudy Gobert and Anthony Edwards probably cannot all coexist in the same solar system, if you know what I mean. So it's not terribly surprising that at some point, Julius Randle or Rudy Gobert are going to be moved. And if they can bring in a Kevin Durant, that certainly would make a lot of sense. But the trading deadline passed. Now we've got KD answering questions about a toxic locker room. And one thing's for sure, that the Phoenix Suns organization at this point, which is currently sitting at 26-26, an intense spot in the Western Conference, are in a lot of trouble. They are literally a week or two away from complete implosion. It is entirely likely that this Phoenix Suns team could actually find themselves completely out of the play-in if they don't turn things around soon. And despite what Kevin Durant said about the locker room not having any issues, it's apparent to everybody that the locker room not having any issues is one thing, but what's actually happening on the court is another thing. The big three, so to speak, in Phoenix clearly hasn't panned out. And I think this is one of the reasons that Kevin Durant will continue his long, strange, great one of the greatest basketball players of all time journey to another team in the upcoming offseason. Love to know what your thoughts and opinions are. Please go ahead and drop them in. For the NBA Rundown, I'm Dave DeBaugh, wishing you all a tremendous rest of your sports viewing day.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play